They laughed when she walked in. 14 seconds later, no one dared. When Monica walked through the doors of Cross Point Grappling Academy that Tuesday evening, she didn't look like someone about to shake the room. She wore a plain black tracksuit. No logos, no fancy stitching, no brand screaming for attention. Just something comfortable, practical. Underneath peeked out a simple green t-shirt. Not neon, not designer, just green. She didn't wear gloves or wraps. No visible gym bag with flashy patches. Nothing about her said, fighter. Nothing about her said, watch me. And yet, she stepped in like she belonged. Around her, the gym buzzed. It was hot, loud, and alive. You could hear the mats being slapped, people grunting mid-roll, bursts of laughter from the white belts who hadn't yet learned when to tap. The fans above worked hard to fight the heat, but the sweat on the mats won that battle long ago. It smelled like effort and bleach, a place where toughness was tested, not worn like a badge. No one looked twice. A couple of folks assumed she was someone's mom, maybe there to pick up a kid. She didn't correct them. Someone near the bench muttered, "Whose mom is that?" She heard it, loud and clear, but she didn't respond, didn't even glance over. She just took a seat along the wall like she'd done it 100 times before. Cam from the front desk, probably in his early 20s with a half-finished beard and old acne scars, strolled over and handed her a waiver. No welcome, no intro, just a clipboard. "First time?" he asked, barely meeting her eyes. Monica gave a small smile. "Not exactly." That was it. No follow-up, no curiosity. Across the mat, Coach Renier was running guard retention drills with the blue belts, a stocky man with the kind of presence that silenced a room even when he didn't speak. Bald, broad, voice like gravel. He saw Monica walk in, but said nothing, didn't invite her over, didn't wave her off, just assumed, like many before her, she wouldn't last the week. What nobody realized, not yet, was that Monica had been here before. Not in this gym, maybe, but in rooms just like this. Rooms where the air got thick the moment you walked in wearing something that didn't scream, fighter. Rooms where your worth was invisible until you made it visible. Where you were measured not by skill, but by what people thought they saw. As the warm-ups began, Monica moved like someone who didn't need to prove anything, but still could. Her shrimping had rhythm. Her hip escapes were clean. Her bridges were compact, explosive, controlled. Not flashy, just right. And that's when the whispers started to shift. "She's moving better than me," one white belt murmured to his partner, "and I've been here 6 months." But not everyone noticed. Travis, loud, lean, with a new knee brace he couldn't stop showing off, was too busy retelling the story of how he almost lost his brown belt at a tournament because of an aggressive heel hook. He cracked jokes about Monica under his breath. "Hope she stretched first," he chuckled, "or we're calling somebody." His friend Becca leaned in and whispered, "She looks like she's never even rolled before." Travis grinned. "She's gonna get folded like a lawn chair." The laughs echoed. Monica stayed quiet. When it was time to pair off, she stood, calm, still barefoot. She tied her pants with slow precision, like it was muscle memory, like she'd done it every day for the last 10 years, and in a way, she had. Because 12 years ago, half a world away, Monica had stood barefoot on hot, cracked concrete in Fortaleza, Brazil. The gym had no air conditioning, no padded floors, just sun, sweat, and a tin roof that leaked when it rained. She was 26 back then, freshly divorced, alone, carrying pain she didn't yet know how to name. Her 2 boys were back home in Tulsa, staying with her aunt while Monica searched for something. Maybe healing, maybe peace, maybe herself. She hadn't planned to stay in Brazil, just a few weeks, maybe 2 months max, long enough to shake off the weight of what she'd left behind. But on her 3rd day, the head coach, Maestro Valdo, had watched her roll, quietly, carefully. He didn't say much, just nodded once and told her, "Vete, mu spiritu." Go, you have the spirit. And that was it. Monica stayed. trained 6 days a week, learned to fight with her mind, not just her body, learned to breathe again. So now, back in Topeka, Kansas, surrounded by people who laughed when she entered, Monica didn't need applause. She didn't need to explain herself, because the moment she stepped onto that mat, the moment someone reached for her collar or tried to test her base, they'd find out everything they needed to know. And none of it came from the way she looked when she walked in. She was placed with the beginners. 14 seconds later, everyone realized their mistake. The morning sessions in Fortaleza started before the sun even rose. No air conditioning, no mercy. The gym was hot, raw, unforgiving, and exactly what Monica needed back then. She moved through the drills like her body had memorized every step long before she ever arrived. But it wasn't just the techniques that stayed with her. It was the details. The calloused feet of women who trained like they had nothing left to lose. The slap of the mat when someone hit a clean throw. The way nobody cared about her name, her background, her story. Only one thing mattered. Could she move? Back then, Monica wasn't chasing medals or belts. She was trying to survive herself. There were no videos, no selfies after class, no hashtags, no audience, just bruises that stopped hurting and thoughts that slowly stopped chasing her down. Her GI was always simple. Her belt faded, frayed. When she finally earned her purple, Mestre Valdo didn't give a speech. He didn't need to. He just looked at her, nodded once, and said, "Earned." She didn't cry, didn't celebrate, just smiled, quietly. She was learning what it meant to carry strength without making noise. Eventually, life pulled her back home. Her aunt had a stroke. The boys were growing up fast. Bills needed paying, groceries, school supplies. Life became a different kind of fight. She folded her belt one night, gently, like it was alive, and tucked it into a box. Jiu-jitsu went on the shelf. Years passed. Then, one random night after a long shift at the medical billing office, she found herself watching an old match from Brazil. The video was grainy. The sound barely worked, but there she was, her younger self, sweeping, passing, chaining moves like a song only her body remembered. She watched it twice, then again. And when her teenage son Jordan walked in and asked, "That you?" she didn't say much, just nodded. "Dang," he said. "You were kind of a beast." She smiled, turned off the TV. I was all right. That night, she couldn't sleep. Not because of stress or bills, but because something inside her had started beating again. Not loud, not demanding, just present. She didn't announce her comeback, didn't post online, didn't even tell her friends. She just quietly called Cross Point Grappling Academy, asked about trial classes, signed up for the soonest Tuesday. She didn't mention Brazil, or Mestre Valdo, or the medals in the shoebox under her bed. She didn't need to, because what they didn't know about her wasn't for them. It was for her. She wasn't coming back to impress anyone. She was coming back to remember. So when Travis made his joke, the one about folding chairs, she just breathed. She'd heard worse. But disrespect has a funny way of waking up the parts of you that never really went away. Coach Renaer called for partner drills, split the group, beginners to one side, colored belts to the other. Monica, of course, was placed with the white belts. Travis noticed right away. They gave her the kindergarten group, he said, loud enough for half the gym to hear. Should have brought crayons. Laughter followed, not because it was funny, but because no one wanted to be the only one not laughing. Monica didn't look over, didn't flinch, just stepped forward and paired up with a nervous-looking teenager named Eli. Tape around every finger, shoulders hunched like he was waiting to be corrected. "You want to lead?" he asked, shifting his weight. "You go first," Monica said, calm as still water. They started working on scissor sweeps. Eli was clunky, but he listened. Every time he bumped her knee or lost balance, he apologized. "You're fine," Monica said, gently adjusting his elbow. "Actually, you're close. Just tighten this here and turn your hips like this." She showed him. Not fast, not flashy, just right. Eli blinked. "Wait, you've done this before?" "A little," she said with a small smile. Meanwhile, across the room, Travis was rolling with Devon, a blue belt with a stocky build, fast hands, and a limp that spoke of old battles. Travis made a scene, laughing too loud, tapping dramatically, turning every grip into a performance. Coach Renaer called for partner switches. Monica ended up with a man in his 50s named Calvin. Kind face, peppermint scent. His brand new white belt still had a crease from the packaging. "You got any injuries I should know about?" Monica asked politely. "Just my pride," he joked. "But I think that's already hanging on by a thread." She smiled, a real one. Then they got to work. They ran drills. Monica didn't try to show off, didn't rush. But anyone paying attention could see it. Her base was too solid, her movements too clean, her balance didn't wobble, her transitions had timing, her posture never broke. And after one particularly smooth reversal, Coach Renaer paused. "You said this is your first time here?" he asked, watching her carefully. "I did," Monica replied. He raised an eyebrow. "Where'd you train before?" Monica just shrugged. "Different places," he laughed. 14 seconds later, he was on the mat, silent. Coach Renaer looked like he wanted to press her, to ask more. But something stopped him. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was discipline. Instead, he turned and corrected someone's hip placement across the room. Across the mat, Travis leaned against the wall, sipping from a massive neon water jug like it was part of his warm-up routine. He'd been watching, saw the quiet exchange between Monica and Coach, whispered to Becca with a smirk, "She's hiding something. Bet she used to do cardio kickboxing or something. Probably thinks she's a killer." Becca didn't respond. She was watching Monica, her expression unreadable, almost like she wasn't watching a new student, but a returning one. When Coach finally called open mat, the whole room felt different, not louder, not tense, just aware, like something was about to shift, but no one could say what. Coach gave the usual instructions: pick your partners, keep it respectful. And Travis was the first to move. He clapped his hands, loud and showy. "Yo, Monica, want to roll?" The room froze. All eyes turned. He wore his brown belt with the tight, prideful knot, the kind of knot that says, "I've been here. I know what I'm doing." Monica stood slowly, calmly, like someone who had nowhere to be but exactly where she was. She smoothed a wrinkle from her shirt. No theatrics. "Sure." She walked toward him like she'd walked that exact path 1,000 times before. No trash talk, no posturing, just presence. Travis grinned and gave her a fake, exaggerated bow. "I'll try not to break you," he laughed. Monica said nothing. She bowed back, properly, respectfully, and settled into position. The gym hushed. Even Coach Renaer stopped mid-sentence. Because sometimes people pretend not to care, until the silence tells them it's time to pay attention. Monica crouched low, knees bent, fingers brushing the mat. Her breathing was steady, no adrenaline, no twitch, just control, like she was about to steep tea, not engage in combat. Meanwhile, Travis bounced on his toes, all confidence and muscle memory, grinning at his own jokes. "Let's see if yoga helps her here," he cracked. Someone near the back laughed softly, but not Becca, not Eli, not Calvin. They were watching Monica, watching something they didn't yet have the words for, but could feel. "Ready?" Travis called, already reaching to bump fists. Monica nodded. They touched hands, and in that moment, everything paused. Monica moved first, not with force, with precision. She pulled guard as Travis stepped in, catching him mid-stride. His base wobbled, the smile flickered from his face, and then it happened. She shifted her hips, just a whisper of movement, like folding a napkin. His knee slipped, his balance broke. The people watching thought it might have been an accident. But Coach Renaer saw it. His eyes narrowed. In a blink, Monica's right leg came up across Travis's shoulder. Her left leg whipped over and locked behind her ankle. The angle was exact. The placement textbook. A full triangle choke. Deep, clean, no gaps. Zero daylight. Travis thrashed once, tried to posture up. Too late. Monica didn't squeeze harder, just adjusted. A subtle shift in her hips. just enough. Tap, tap, tap. 3 quiet, stunned pats on the mat. Not wild, not panicked, just final. 14 seconds. Monica released immediately. No smile, no celebration, no flex. She sat back, cross-legged, and nodded. Not at him, at the moment. Then she stood, calm, unshaken. Walked back to the wall. Her shirt clung slightly to her back. She didn't look for approval, didn't scan for faces. Just picked up a towel, wiped her brow, and drank from an old steel bottle. The room was frozen. Travis lay on his back, blinking at the ceiling like it had betrayed him. Becca stared. Eli turned to Calvin with wide eyes like, did that just happen? Coach Raniere finally broke the silence. Quiet, firm. That wasn't luck. Travis sat up. His face was red, not from shame, but from how deep that choke had locked in. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. Monica sat down again, legs stretched in front of her. She tied her hair into a loose ponytail. No smugness, no adrenaline, just peace. From the far end of the bench, Rico whispered, "That was the cleanest triangle I've ever seen in real life." Calvin chuckled. "Told you, she's something." Nobody laughed this time. But when silence shifts to respect, you know something real just happened. Coach Raniere stood with his arms folded, his usual sharp edge gone. He didn't bark an order. He just nodded and signaled for the next pair. She didn't wear her belt, but everyone knew. No one said it out loud, but the question was everywhere now, echoing in glances, in shifting stances, in quiet stares. Who is she? Travis was still on the mat, one hand at his neck, blinking up like he'd just woken from something. He avoided eye contact as he walked toward the far wall. Becca opened her mouth like she might say something, and then didn't. Monica didn't gloat. She didn't even glance his way. She'd already moved on. "Next round," Coach Raniere called out. "Keep it moving." Monica stood, slow and fluid, stretching her arms without hurry. She didn't volunteer for another round, but she didn't hide either. She simply waited, present, grounded, not pulling attention, yet quietly drawing all of it. Some of the more experienced students started to pick up on something subtle, a stillness, not stiffness, not nerves, just a deep composure, the kind you can't fake. This time, it was Rico who stepped forward. Young, lean, sharp-eyed. "You want to go?" he asked, voice quiet. "Sure," Monica said. They touched hands, bumped fists, rolled. This match lasted longer. Rico came in quick, trying to overwhelm with athleticism, but Monica slowed him down, not by force, but with awareness. She absorbed the tempo, turned sharp edges into smooth transitions. Her grips were precise, her guard patient. When she swept him, she didn't rush the pass. She gave him space, let him recover, let him try again. She wasn't rolling like someone proving a point. She rolled like someone who knew herself, Coach noticed. His arms were folded now, but he wasn't correcting form. He was studying. So was Becca. Eli by the wall whispered to Calvin, "She's on another level." Rico tapped after 90 seconds. Armbar. Clean. Monica helped him up, gave him a small pat on the shoulder. Sat down again. Same quiet rhythm. And then Becca stepped forward. No more hesitation. "My turn?" she asked. Monica stood. "Okay." This one was different. Becca brought intensity, strong base, smart angles. She tried to isolate Monica's wrist, went for a quick arm drag, pushed the pace. Monica didn't fight back. She absorbed, countered with a simple collar grip, slowed everything down, passed, took the back, rear naked choke. Tap! Becca sat up after, catching her breath, and looked Monica in the eyes. "You've done this a long time," she said. Monica finally gave a real answer. "Yeah," she said softly, "I have." Coach Raniere walked over as they finished. His usual sharp edge was gone. He didn't look at her like a newcomer anymore. "You said you were new to this gym," he repeated. Monica nodded, calm. He paused, then asked, "Where'd you train before?" She looked up. "Brazil," she said simply. "Fortaleza." The room went still. Someone near the back muttered, "Wait, Brazil?" Coach tilted his head, something clicking behind his eyes. "How long were you there?" Monica looked down briefly, then met his eyes again. 4 years. Silence stretched. Rico blinked. You a black belt? Monica hesitated, just for a moment, then nodded once. I am. I just don't wear it anymore. No one laughed. No one scoffed. Even Travis, still sitting against the wall, looked over like he was seeing her for the first time. Coach didn't smile, didn't joke. He just nodded slowly. You should have said something. I didn't come here for that, Monica said. I just wanted to train. And that was it. No speech, no backstory, just truth. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is show up without needing to explain a damn thing. The room stayed quiet. Not awkward quiet, changed quiet. The kind of silence that happens when everyone realizes they've misread someone who was never trying to be anything but herself. As people moved to grab bags and water bottles, a few of the regulars gave Monica soft nods. Not out of guilt, not performative, just respect. The kind that doesn't need words. Travis still hadn't rolled again. He sat against the wall, water jug beside him, eyes on the mat. His belt, once tight with pride, now looked quieter, not torn off, just humbled by the truth of the room. Time, Coach called. Bring it in. The group formed near the edge of the mat, hands on hips, breathing heavy, shirts soaked, some stretching, some still watching Monica. She stood just off to the side, not hiding, not posing, towel in hand, quiet. Coach scanned the room, then looked back at her. Some of y'all have been here a long time, he said. You know how I feel about rank, and about proving yourself through time, not noise. He paused. But tonight y'all got reminded, skill doesn't always wear a stripe. A few heads turned toward Monica. No one rolled their eyes. Even Travis looked down. Becca raised a hand. Can she teach a class? This time, there was laughter, but it wasn't sarcasm. It was hope. Coach smiled. We'll talk about that. As the room began to break down, Eli walked over shyly, rubbing the back of his neck. Sorry for being so stiff earlier, he said. Monica gave him a small nod. You were fine. And just like that, she was packing up again, like nothing had changed. But the truth was, everything had. She didn't brag. She didn't boast. But everyone knew. You did fine, Monica told Eli as he wiped sweat from his forehead. You've got good instincts. Thanks, he said, still catching his breath. You really choked that guy out in, 14 seconds? Monica gave a small grin. I didn't count. He laughed, more from disbelief than anything, and walked off shaking his head, like he'd just witnessed something that would live in the back of his mind for a long time. Monica picked up her bag, slid her sandals on, and stepped off the mat without a word. No fanfare, no glance back for approval, but as she passed by Travis, he stood up, awkward, uncertain, face still a shade too red. Hey, he said, stopping her. She turned. He rubbed the back of his neck, looking for words that hadn't been used in a while. I was out of line. She didn't make it easy, didn't let him off with a polite laugh or a friendly jab. She just looked at him, long enough for the silence to do its work. Yeah, she said, you were. Then she opened the door and walked out. The sun had dropped, but the sky still held a soft blue glow around the edges. Monica moved with the same rhythm she'd had on the mat. Steady, rooted. She didn't slam the door, didn't grip the wheel. This wasn't a movie. This was just life. And sometimes, the most powerful wins are the ones you take home in silence. Her phone buzzed, a message from Jordan. You making dinner or should I start the pasta? She smiled. On my way. Dinner that night was nothing fancy. Spaghetti with jar sauce and garlic toast from the freezer, but it didn't need to be. Monica moved around the kitchen with the same calm precision she used when passing guard, quiet, measured, present. Jordan, her 17-year-old, sat at the table with earbuds dangling around his neck. You good? He asked between bites. She nodded. Yeah. How was the gym? She paused, then said, It was good. He tilted his head. You roll with anybody? She cracked a smile. A few people. He grinned. Bet they didn't see you coming. Monica just shrugged, but the glint in her eye said enough. After dinner, after the dishes, she sat in her room, not doing anything in particular, just letting the day settle, the noise of it all drifting away. She thought about Fortaleza, the mornings before sunrise, the cracked concrete, the sweat. She thought about Mestre Valdo, how he'd say, "You don't need to raise your voice when your presence speaks louder." She thought about Travis, how some men only learn once they're staring up at the truth. She thought about Coach Renaer, how he looked at her now, not with expectation, but with understanding. She thought about Eli, Rico, Becca, and how maybe, just maybe, she could give something back. Not because she needed praise, but because she knew someone, someday, would walk into that gym quietly, just like she did, wondering if they belonged. And maybe if she was there, just stretching in the corner, calm and steady, that person wouldn't walk out. That mattered more than any belt ever did. She reached under her bed, pulled out an old shoebox and opened it. Inside, her black belt, faded, frayed, tied and retied in 100 rooms across 100 hard days. She held it in her hands, ran her thumb across the stitching, then closed the box again. She wasn't ready to wear it just yet, but she was done hiding from it. The next morning, she sent a message to Coach. "Hey, I'd be down to help out on Mondays if you ever need an extra hand. No pressure." A few minutes later, he replied, "Absolutely. Let's talk tonight." She smiled, got up, looked in the mirror. No makeup, green t-shirt, hair tied back. Just Monica. No spotlight, no dramatic monologue. Just a woman who came back to something she loved, and in the process, reminded a whole room that strength doesn't always yell. Sometimes it just shows up. It's not in the shout. It's in the showing. It's in knowing who you are when nobody else does. It's in the stillness while others look for applause. And that is what presence really is. So if you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or told you didn't belong, remember Monica. And remember, you don't need to talk big when your truth is louder than words. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone out there is quietly wondering if they're enough. Maybe today's the day they remember who they really are.